I thought it'd be a good idea to just kind of like take some time and talk through digital strategy roadmaps and what they are, because I kind of realized that we've had this great opportunity to work together on a bunch of these new types of projects, but it's like I think we've done probably 5 or 6 of them already in the last like few months. But it occurred to me that there's probably a lot of people that just don't really know exactly what they are, and I don't think we really know what they could be yet. So that's another, like, I want this to be like a little bit of half show and tell from my end, and then like half Q&A. And I think we can. So we're videoing this and as part of trying to like walk our own talk, because we tell clients to be on like Instagram Live and Facebook Live and be doing a bunch of stuff. So we're trying to do that ourselves. But so I'll just get started, and then like whoever else comes in, we can kind of catch them up to speed. So my story is that in 2006, I had a full-time job, but I kind of got this itch to start my own website. So I started a fantasy football website and kind of taught myself how to build it in like HTML, and then like eventually converted it over into WordPress. And the reason I picked fantasy football is because I was obsessed with it. Like I wanted there to be more information out there about fantasy football, and I wanted to share what I thought about it. And so I just started blogging about it. And through that experience, like I started to get into, okay, this is like, there's a lot to this, because there's other websites out there that do this. Those websites sell advertising space, they sell memberships, and I started to think like this could go from a hobby to a career. And so for like the next probably 7 years, it was like my second full-time job. I would spend like 40 hours a week in addition to my full-time job, building up that website, blogging about fantasy football. Eventually it got to a point where there was probably a few hundred people that were paying me anywhere from like $25 to $100 a year to say like, be able to ask me questions like about how to win their league and stuff like that. And I was selling advertising space on the site. So I had monetized it a little bit. And then it got into a situation where other websites and like actual magazines and stuff would pay me to be a freelance writer for them. So it was like kind of this second career. So anyway, point being, it became like this digital business that I grew just by myself, from just blogging, from 0 web traffic all the way to probably, like when I was selling advertising space on it, I mean, it probably had, I think I ran into a guy from CBS Sportsline at a fantasy football event in Michigan, and I was like, what do I need my web traffic to get up to for you to buy advertising on my site? And his answer was somewhere around like 1,000 visitors a day or something like that, or 1,000 sessions a day before they would like consider it. So that first year, I basically just figured out like how to do link partnerships, how to do guest blogging, like how to basically bring traffic into my site by siphoning off of other people's audiences. So sometimes it would be like, there was a website called The Big Lead, and The Big Lead would do just these outrageous sports stories, like if an athlete was dating a celebrity or if they broke up or something like that, and they had huge amounts of traffic. So I would just start to write like one story every week that was off the beaten path for me. It would be like, one of them was Antoine Randall, who was a wide receiver for the Redskins at the time, made a comment like that he could, if he wrestled a bear, he would win, or something like that. So I wrote like, just because of The Big Lead, I wrote like a 400, 500 word blog post on that, which I didn't really care about. I wanted, like, could Antoine Randall help me win my fantasy football league was what I cared about. But whenever I would write like a guest blog for The Big Lead, they would run it. That was what their audience was interested in. There was enough crossover between my audience and their audience to where it made sense for me to do it. And then it would be this huge spike in traffic from my website, and I would get, some of them would convert, and others would just be introduced to me for the first time, and that sort of thing. So, kind of the punchline, I'll get to the punchline later, but that's relevant because what I learned from, like, now fast forward to like 2011, I started to work for like my first work for an agency, right? So for about the last, I guess, 6 years, I've been applying some of those best practices back when I was doing my own fantasy football site to this. It's relevant to these digital strategy roadmaps because I think I built my first digital strategy roadmap for a client about almost exactly 6 years ago, and I called it a social media playbook. And it was an app, and they wanted to grow their business organically. And at the time, it was, and still it is, like social media is definitely one of the main ways to do it. And so I think I came up with like this 175-page ridiculous amount of content that was like, my thought was, if I can basically put together a playbook of all the different posts they should be making, all the different target audiences they should be targeting, all this stuff that like they can do, like I can help them apply the same things that I did. It didn't, to me, it just was like, it doesn't matter if it's fantasy football or in this case it was like a food ordering service, like a to-go ordering service for food from like restaurants that didn't have their own like app to order online. So I was like, okay, well I can take any business and do the same thing.